I want to thank everybody for watching the videos that I'm doing right now. I really do appreciate that. You guys are definitely checking in consistently on these videos. Right now, we're doing a lot of, I wouldn't call it reminiscing, but reevaluating definitely the past so that we can see where we're at right now, why we're here right now. And what I mean by why we're here right now, I just look at the culture, right? I'm from the hip hop culture and I'm black, so I'm from two cultures. One is a subculture of my main culture. I'm a black American. Subculture of that is hip hop. These are not the two. These two are not the same thing, right? So you don't have to be black and into hip hop. You don't have to. There's no pressure for you to be into hip hop because you're black. You don't need to know what's going down in that culture. However, I want to talk about something that I think has affected the entire, almost the entire black culture. Whether your family was a part of this or not, you caught a stray. You caught stigmatism, stereotyping the black people. Even if your family had nothing to do with the streets, because of the topic we're going to discuss today, even your family was affected. So you could be a black man riding down the street. You could be a doctor, have never committed a crime, but the perception of you is attached to something more sinister. You understand? Hit the like button. Forgive my rambling. I got to do that for the AI. They checking for the first 60 seconds to see what I'm going to be talking about. You understand? To see if they're going to flag it this way, flag it that way. But deal with me. I like to teach. If we're going to talk on these topics, I really don't. It's not about the glorification. You understand? And as I'm thinking back on it, I think that is my real problem. If I'm going to be 100% transparent with what Prince was doing, it was more like he was coming out and continuing some type of criminal glorification, right? Now, if people are going to do crime, people are going to do crime. But first of all, I want to we're going to, don't worry, don't nobody go nowhere because I'm going into science today. I educate. That's what I do. I don't just be up here spewing whatever nonsense, right? I seen somebody put in the chat one time. Yo, just get to it. Yo, my show ain't for you, bro. You go somewhere where your dopamine levels could get hit right away. Like, you're not an intellectual. You don't even have the patience for understanding and knowledge. Beat it. Unsubscribe from me, bro. If you don't appreciate what I'm bringing, just unsubscribe. I don't need your subscription that bad. You could take off, Jack. Now, for everybody else, this is probably going to be a multiple part series because I'm going to take my time and I want to discuss the origins of how cocaine became so prevalent in the United States and some of the warnings that the United States even received before the explosion of crack cocaine. Right? This is a history that we need to understand because for some reason today, in the past, I don't know, 20 years, maybe even 30, we just been glorifying the hell out of behavior that was killing our communities like a cancer, right? I remember when it was announced that Prince was coming home and everybody was all excited. You let me know how awkward or Is that a Stockholm syndrome that you would glorify one of the same people, because there's many, there's thousands, one of the same people that destroyed your community, right? In a reckless way. Right? So even though he did not go to jail for any murders, this was the murders that his name was attached to was considered during sentencing. And that's not the only thing that was considered during sentencing from what I can read. There were people that came forward that said he was part of gang rapes and all of this other stuff. All of that was considered when he was sentenced, and he received multiple life sentences. He's home today, and he, I guess he figured, I gotta make money. Everyone does have to make some money on this planet, right? Gotta do something. And I figured, he said, I'm gonna use my brand. But that is a brand that we need to put behind us as a people. Because the more we stay stuck in that mindset, I still hear rappers today, dropping new music, bragging about selling coke. We've never gotten over it. All the hurt that it caused. People dying. People getting tortured. People losing their families to overdoses. People losing their families because they taken from the state because their families weren't fit to take care of children because they were now addicted to drugs. Those kids having to be brought up in institutions. Right? Young people getting sent to institutions at an early age only to get extorted inside of prison, raped inside of prison. Like, these are the realities. People losing their minds. These are the hard realities. So I understand why someone may go through that experience and come out and be like, I feel so invincible because I made it through prison and I'm still alive. I get that part. But we have to differentiate and separate you getting through an experience and being grateful, and then you glorifying it to the point where you inspire somebody else to want to go do the same thing. So I don't think that Prince should have came home and been even discussing the glorification of crime, period. Even though he's a criminal. Well, was a criminal. If he's not a criminal anymore, then find something else to talk about. Or just say, I'm still a criminal. I'm still out here on it like that. I got associates like that. You understand? Every time they see me or they speak to me, they let me know. As if I'm soft now. You understand? They let me know, nigga, I'm still the same nigga. You niggas changed. Yes, I did, bro. But I will still fucking put a hot one through your head. Stop playing with me. Let's get that correct early, nigga. Do remember that part. Okay. But everything else? Yeah, we people change. People evolve. Fuck is wrong with you? Don't be bragging to me. You know what? If you like it, I love it, nigga. How about that? I love it. You want to remain the same? You remain the same. And I respect it. But don't make it seem like you're better than me because you're still a hood criminal nigga. This is fucking stupid talk that I would like to obliterate. So I would like to use this time to go over some of the science, of the information about cocaine in the in the beginnings, right? We're going to listen to a book today from a guy who I do consider an American hero. His name is Gary Webb. He's, in my opinion, most conspiracy theorists like myself believe that there was some high echelon group that came to kill him for exposing the drug trade in America and America's part on it. Before we get to that, let me show you something. This guy here his name is Tennyson Geyer. He was a Republican. You're gonna hear his name in the book, and I just wanted you to know, kind of get an idea on who he is. A representative from Ohio, born in Findlay, Hancock County, Ohio, educated in the public schools of Findlay, performed. No. I don't think I need to read all of that. Okay, here we go. Ohio State Republican. You're gonna hear him. There's gonna be reenactment on his part when we listen to this here book that we're gonna listen to. And there's another guy who is a scientist. I don't have a picture of him. I tried to find a picture, but for some reason the picture looks like Tucker Carlson, and I was like, what? That's crazy. I'm gonna look more into that later. That's absolutely nuts. If he looked, I'm talking about the resemblance is uncanny. It's nuts. But his name is Dr. Robert Bick. He was a psychiatrist. He passed away. He was a psychiatrist and a brain researcher at Yale Medical School. Now, I'm bringing him up because I do these debates all the time, and with different people. I do hip hop debates. I just study, bro. Yeah, I do religious debates, scientific debates. But the thing about I think nobody is more dogmatic than the science community. They are arrogantly dogmatic. You understand? And you can see this. You see the evidence of this from one of the top members of the scientific community a few years ago, Dr. Fauci, when he was before a Senate, and he was before a committee, and he said, Senator, when you question me, you question science. And I found that hilarious because I'm like, so what? I question you in science. Well, it's not that the raw framework of science itself is wrong. What's wrong are human beings who try to weaponize it and try to use it to get to be biased on arguments or things that they want to normalize. That is the danger of the science community. Like when what's his name? Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, didn't want to admit anything about the Y chromosome in the male during DEI. When DEI was strong and they was giving out all that money, they must have compromised him because he didn't even want to admit that having the Y chromosome would make you a male. Right? Because there was that whole male conversation. So his solution to that conversation was, what does it matter? It matters a lot, my boy. We out here teaching young kids the education and information so that when we get older and they get old, they got to run this place. If you won't give them the information because you caught a couple of dollars under the table, what are we talking about, bro? You understand? So I don't trust humans for the most part. But let's not delay any further. Let's get into the first part. And again, this is going to be a several part video because I will be talking through it. I will be giving my insight. Do me a favor. Leave a comment. Let me know how you feel. Do hype the video. And that being said, I want to get into the audio. Let's go.
Those who couldn't wound up in prison, and occasionally before firing squads. 9 days after Somoza and his cronies were overthrown, a handful of congressmen gathered in a hearing room at the Rayburn House office building in Washington, D.C., to discuss some disturbing activities in Latin America. Though what had happened in Nicaragua was on everyone's mind in the nation's capital that week, these particular lawmakers had concerns that lay farther to the south, in Colombia, in Bolivia, and in Peru. They were worried about cocaine. The exotic South American drug seemed to be winning admirers everywhere. References were turning up in movies, songs, and newspaper stories, and surprisingly, many of them were positive. To Republican Congressman Tennyson Geyer, an elderly former preacher and 33rd degree Mason from Findlay, Ohio, it seemed like the media was hell-bent on glamorizing cocaine.
Let's just stop right there, right? Now, if you don't know anything about Operation Mockingbird, I do believe this was when the CIA had invested in the purpose, the conscious purpose propaganda initiative to crystallize the minds of people, not just in America or not just around the world, but also in America, right? So they would do this and they would use all aspects of media. So we can call this a psyop. They would use newspaper or media outlets, right? Via magazine, via newsletters. Also the music industry. Years later, we would learn that Wackenhut, a non-government organization, right? But they work with the government as contractors. They would, through a loophole, benefit, right? Because they started these private prisons, so they would benefit from negative music. Somehow the same investors in Wackenhut had the same, was connected to the music industry, and therefore there was a new initiative put on the people who ran the music industry. What was needed was more negative music, right? So people, hindsight, but this is why I call my show Society Past, Present, Future. When we can look back 20 years and see how these things all started, it's like, oh, they really played us, like really played us. So why would I want to continue to perpetuate this whole, yeah, we outside, we still got bricks. You know, there's some artists that I do like I actually like Jim Jones's voice when he rap, you know what I'm saying? And I like his cadence when he, you know, like, to me it's dope. You know what I'm saying? You put him on any song and he could be talking about cheddar cheese and broccoli, and I'm probably gonna bob my head because I like his delivery on and he chooses good beats. However, he still chooses to reference a lot of things that are toxic, right? And again, it's hard for people to let things go that been working for them. So even though he does not live in the hood, he comes to the hood. Dang God, he doesn't live in the hood. We can see this when it snows. He can't wait to throw on his snow outfit, go play in his own yard, the gated community. At that, he got a gated house. You understand? Long driveway. He don't live nowhere near that nonsense, and I can guarantee you, he's not selling crack. You understand? But he's still talking like that. He's selling. So who is he making the music for? It's crazy. Let's continue on before I get wrapped up in that conversation. Let's just keep going.
Geyer, an ultra-conservative fond of loud suits and white patent leather shoes, was the chairman of the cocaine task force of the House Select Committee on Narcotics Abuse and Control, and he wasn't just going to stand by and watch. Recent developments concerning the state of cocaine have come to my attention, which call for decisive and immediate action, Geyer thundered as he opened his cocaine hearings in July 1979. The availability, abuse, and popularity of cocaine in the United States has reached pandemic proportions. This is a drug which, for the most part, has been ignored, and its increased use in our society has caught us unprepared to cope effectively with this menace. But if Geyer was feeling menaced by cocaine, not too many others were. Many Americans who'd grown up during the drug-soaked 1960s reasoned that an occasional sniff of the fluffy white powder was no more menacing than a couple of martinis, and considerably more chic. Cocaine didn't give you a hangover. It didn't scramble your brains. Many doctors believed you couldn't get hooked on it. It made you feel great. It kept the pounds off, and there was a definite cachet associated with using it. Just the price of admission to Club Cocaine was enough to keep out the riffraff. At $2,500 an ounce and up, it was a naughty pleasure reserved for a special few. The so-called elites and the intellectual classes, as Geyer derisively termed them. Even the paraphernalia associated with the drug, sterling silver cocaine spoons and tightly rolled $100 bills, carried an aura of decadence. In the public's mind, cocaine was associated with fame and fortune. The rediscovery of cocaine in the 70s was unavoidable. A Los Angeles psychologist gushed to a convention of drug experts in 1980, because its stimulating and pleasure-causing properties reinforce the American character, with its initiative, its energy, its restless activity, and its boundless optimism. While the street corners played host to lowbrow and much more dangerous drugs, angel dust, smack, meth, coke stayed up in the penthouses, nestled in exquisitely carved bowls and glittering little boxes. It came out at private parties or in the washrooms of trendy nightclubs. Unless some celebrity got caught with it by accident, street cops almost never saw the stuff. My first 10 years as a narcotics agent, my contact with cocaine was very minimal, recalled Gerald Smith, who ran the San Francisco office of the California Bureau of Narcotics Enforcement during the 1980s. As a matter of fact, the first few years, the only cocaine I ever saw was an ounce some guy would take around as a training aid to teach you what it looked like, because it was something you saw so rarely. Our big things in those days were pills and heroin and marijuana. But if Reverend Geyer thought the experts he'd summoned to Washington were going to help him change the public's mind about cocaine sniffing, he was badly mistaken. Witness after witness trooped up to the microphone to tell Congress that cocaine was not only a relatively safe drug, but so rare that it could hardly be called a nuisance, much less the menace Geyer was advertising. Daily cocaine use is extremely uncommon, simply because of the high cost, testified Robert C. Peterson, Assistant Director of Research for the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Under present conditions of use, it has not posed a very serious health problem for most. Rarely does it cause a problem.
It's crazy as we listen to these professionals in 2026. Oh, how the tables have turned. You understand? This is why, for my science nuts out there, I'm not always committed to a knee-jerk reaction to join you just because you have presented some information. Yes, you're wrong sometimes too. You have to face that. It's only you in the religious community that don't want to accept that the contradictions within the timelines of the history of the existence of whatever topic we're talking about. Let's keep going.
Lee I. Dogoloff, the White House's drug expert, concurred. It is our assumption, he said, that the current relatively low level of health problems associated with cocaine use reflects the relatively high price and relatively low availability of the substance. To make the point, the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, Peter Benzinger, told the committee he had brought $800,000 worth of cocaine to show them. He pulled out a little bag and dangled it before his rapt audience. "That is simulated, I trust?" Geyer inquired. "No, that is actual coca."
There was no reason for you to bring $1 million of cocaine to prove your point, my boy. Listen, guys, my video is getting up there in length. You know how we do. I don't like, you guys can't pay attention more than really 20 minutes. So I'm really 5 minutes over the threshold. So dig this. Hit the like button. Do also hype the video, and then meet me at the next video, because I'm going to do part 2. Right? So we probably got, I don't know, 6 episodes of just this. And I didn't forget the Edward Byrne. We're going back to Edward Byrne. But I do want to, I want you to understand the history behind this thing, why he even got shot. You understand? Them boys was out there trying to make money on that corner. But there's certain things I need you to understand that made people act in their lower self. They out here shooting cops. They out here, there's a lot of lower self behavior that went down because of the use of this, that America did know it could create this type of atmosphere. They were warned, and you're going to find out about that warning in my next video, part 2. So hit the like button, and I'll see you there.